What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. We continue with our 2025 predictions for the upcoming 2025 college football season. Up next is the Oklahoma State Cowboys, of course, coming off a disappointing year last year, going 3-9 in 2024 and not winning a single game in the Big 12 Conference. Yeah, I was high on this Oklahoma State team last year. I picked this team to go to the Big 12 championship, and I think I had them winning it all in the Big 12 as well, and I had this team going to the college football playoff. That, of course, did not happen. It was like Utah and Oklahoma State. Those two teams were the teams that I picked probably to go to the Big 12 championship last year, and they did not live up to those expectations. Can Oklahoma State turn things around in 2025? Well, my thoughts on this team, I'm not very high on them. I'm not quite as high as I was on this team from last year, and I'm not high on them this year, and it could be a pretty rough year. You look at both sides of the football, there's not really any major weaknesses on this team, but just a bunch of new players. They're going to have a new quarterback, and you obviously got some concerns there at the quarterback position. Alan Bowman is gone, anyway, so yeah, you got some options there at quarterback and everything. I don't think this team is going to be terrible. I think they can win at least a couple of games in the Big 12, but it's just kind of hard to tell how good this team is going to be, especially with the season that they had from last year, and the schedule is kind of tough as well, especially when you got a big non-conference game there in week number 2, which we'll get to here in just a moment. But again, Oklahoma State, they were 3-9 last year in 2024, and like I said, they didn't win a single game in the Big 12 last season. So this is the schedule, so let's go game by game, and I'll give you my official prediction here for the Oklahoma State Cowboys for 2025. They're going to start things off on a Thursday night against UT Martin. That's an FCS team. Should be a pretty easy win for Oklahoma State to kick off the year, and I got this team starting off 1-0 for 2025. Then they'll go on the road to face Oregon on September 6th. I talked about this non-conference game just a moment ago. When you got a tough non-conference game on the non-conference schedule, it does make the schedule a little bit tougher for this Oklahoma State team. Yeah, no shot here for the Cowboys to defeat the Ducks in this one. I know Oregon's got a new quarterback and everything as well, but I think they're going to be just fine. I feel like, the talent of Oregon is just going to be way too much here for Oklahoma State to handle. So yeah, I don't think this will be a blowout. Maybe it's a game that's probably close for a while, but I think Oregon, they're obviously the better team, and I think if this game was at home here for Oklahoma State, I would probably give Oklahoma State a 5% chance to pull off the upset, but I got them having no shot here to pull off an upset because it's on the road. So I think Oregon does defeat Oklahoma State here. They get the win, and they're going to give them their first loss of the season. So that's going to drop them down to 1-1, but then they take care of Tulsa here on a Friday, so they got 2 weeknight games here on this schedule, and then that's about it. They go into Big 12 play the rest of the way. They play Baylor here on September the 27th. This will be a home game coming out of a bye week for Oklahoma State. Pretty good spot for a bye week before playing a Baylor team that has a bunch of experience coming back, and I'm pretty high on this Baylor team. I do like this Baylor team a lot. I've had them in my way too early top 25 and then also my spring top 25. I think this team is just going to be that good, and I feel like they're underrated this year in 2025, but I think Oklahoma State actually can make this a competitive game. It probably will be a lower scoring game, but I think Baylor, the experience of this team is probably going to be enough here for the Bears to somehow get a big win here on the road here, or actually, at Oklahoma State here, in my opinion. So yeah, they get, the bye week to kind of help them out and everything. Actually, they don't get a bye week before playing Baylor. They actually get a bye week before playing Tulsa, so correct that. They get a bye week before playing Tulsa instead of playing Baylor coming out of the bye week. So the bye week does not help them out, basically before playing Baylor. It does help them out before playing Tulsa, but maybe they're looking ahead to overlooking that Tulsa game, and then they're probably focused on this Baylor game. I think it will be pretty sluggish, though, at the end of the game, and I think Baylor does pull out a win here. And like I said, the experience of Baylor will be enough to pull off this win. So, again, correct me if I'm wrong there. Bye week before playing Tulsa instead of bye week before playing Baylor. Yeah, I just messed up there, but they get to 2-2 now, and then they go on the road to play Arizona on October 4th. So they have to travel out west here for the second time. They played Oregon out west, and now they got to play Arizona. This is just going to be even tougher for Oklahoma State. Arizona's a team that, definitely has a lot of question marks. Are they going to be better this year? That's kind of hard to tell, but this one is on the road here for Oklahoma State. That's a very tough place to play, and especially traveling out west, not having a bye week from last week. Yeah, that's going to definitely give Oklahoma State some trouble. So I think this is a pretty even matchup. I'm going to go with the Wildcats here because of home field advantage, and I'm going to say that Arizona does get the win. So that's going to drop Oklahoma State now to 2-3. Then they come back at home to play Houston on October the 11th. You know, a Houston team that I feel like is going to be a lot better this year. I wouldn't say they're like a Big 12 contender or even a dark horse for that matter, but Willie Fritz is a pretty good coach, and he's added some good additions in the transfer portal. But I feel like Oklahoma State is kind of a desperate, at this point to kind of end that Big 12 losing streak, because if they went 0-9 in the Big 12 last year, the losing streak would be at 11. They're 0-11 in their Big 12 games, since last year, and I feel like they're going to be desperate for a win at this point. If there's a game on here where I think they're desperate for a win, it's probably going to be this game. I think Houston on paper is the better team, but Oklahoma State is playing at home, and I had a pretty tough time making this prediction when I did my Houston video, so I'm going to say that Oklahoma State actually does pull off a slight upset here, and I got Oklahoma State improving to 3-3. Then they play Cincinnati at home on October the 18th. This is a pretty even matchup here as well. Cincinnati, I think, is going to be a lot better this year, and I also think they're going to be really competitive, but I think home field advantage will be the difference here in this one. It's a pretty even matchup, like I said, and so I'm going to go with the Cowboys here to get the win over Cincinnati. So that's going to put them now at 4-3. So that puts them over that 500 mark. So you're sitting here at 4-3, 2 games away from making it to a bowl game, but the rest of the schedule kind of gets tougher for Oklahoma State. They'll play at Texas Tech here on October 25th. Texas Tech team pretty similar to Baylor. This is a team that I'm also pretty high on in the Big 12. I feel like this is a dark horse contender in the Big 12, and I also think they're a preseason top 25 team. And this one is on the road. That's a very tough place to play. Yeah, no chance here for Oklahoma State. I think Texas Tech is the better team. They beat Oklahoma State and give them their 4th loss of the season. Then it's also back-to-back road games. They'll play Kansas here the next week on November 1st. It's not a very tough place to play. The Jayhawks, though, I feel like they're going to be probably, running the football here in this game, and I just feel like that's going to probably wear down the Oklahoma State defense. And also, playing back-to-back road games in the Big 12, it's hard to win back-to-back road games, and it's hard to kind of win one of these road games. Yeah, I think Oklahoma State can make this a close game, but still, I think the Jayhawks are the better team. They do defeat Oklahoma State here, and that's going to give them their 5th loss of the season. Then they get their 2nd bye week before playing Kansas State at home on November 15th. Pretty good opportunity here to pull off an upset here for Oklahoma State. This is kind of a battle here between 2 well-coached teams. You got coaches that have been here for these programs for a very long time. You got the Kansas State coach and then Mike Gundy for Oklahoma State. I think it kind of does come down to whoever is the better coach team. And I'm going to say that the Wildcats are definitely the better team. And plus, I feel like they have more playmakers on their roster to compare to Oklahoma State. So yeah, this will be a close game. I think Oklahoma State definitely has a shot here to pull off the upset, but I think they'll come up just short. The bye week does help them out to kind of make this a close game, but I'm going to go with the Wildcats here of Kansas State. So that's going to drop the Cowboys now to 4-6. So you got to win these final 2 games here against UCF and Iowa State here in the month of November in order to make it to 6 wins and turn around your season. But they get UCF on the road. Kind of a tricky place to play. UCF, I feel like, is a team that you don't want to play in the month of November. I think they'll get better and better as a team as they go down the stretch here in the month of November. Scott Frost is back. Which Scott Frost are we going to get? The Scott Frost from Nebraska or the old Scott Frost from UCF from a long time ago? I feel like by this point you're going to get the Scott Frost from, the old UCF teams, and I think UCF does prevail, so I'm going to say that UCF does get the win here in a pretty close game, and I think UCF does give Oklahoma State their 7th loss, so that means no bowl game. It's going to be at 4-7 now, and then they close things out with Iowa State at home on November 29th. Kind of a tricky game here for Oklahoma State, but it's at home here for the Cowboys. They definitely have a chance to pull off an upset here, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. I do trust Iowa State. It's kind of like similar to the Kansas State game. It's kind of a game where it does come down to the coaching staff, and I think Iowa State definitely has the better coaching staff in my opinion. So going Cyclones here in the final game of the season, and I got the Cowboys finishing 4-8. So I don't have them going winless this year in the Big 12. I think they can at least get a couple of wins, maybe one. Maybe they lose one of these games here at home against Houston or Cincinnati. Maybe they can lose to Houston and then beat Cincinnati, and that'll put them back at 3-9 though. I mean, maybe they could pull off an upset here against Baylor or Kansas State or Iowa State. Those are probably the biggest games here on this schedule, especially at home. But I got this team going 4-8. Again, 2 wins in the Big 12. Yeah, they don't go winless this year, but I just don't think they're going to make it to a bowl game, and I think this team is definitely going to struggle in my opinion. So that's my prediction here for the Cowboys for 2025. Do you guys agree or disagree with this prediction? Give me your thoughts down in the comments below and give me your prediction for this team as well. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports YouTube channel.